What's going on, guys? The Bearded Parent here, bringing you another Phasmo video. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions during my live streams about, like, how to find the ghost. What's the best way to loop the ghost around objects? How do you find the ghost room so quickly? Why are you so handsome? All these kind of questions I get all the time. So what I decided to do is that I would make this video of me over 3,200 hours in Phasmophobia. I'm going to share with you guys all of the pro tips that I possibly can about Phasmophobia and about, just in general, how to find the ghost room, how to loop the ghost, when should you loop the ghost, what are some cheeky little spots that I've learned over 3,200 hours to hopefully be able to pen park onto you guys. So if you like this video, please give it a like, share it with a friend. Let me know down in the comment section below if you knew everything on here or if there was something about this that you're like, hey, I didn't know that. That was a good tip. I'd love to know, right? I'd love to know on how many people are at the upper echelon level like I am, or maybe I'm just grossly over-exaggerating myself. But in either case, right, let's dive right into this video. So we're going to put this on professional mode. Purely just so that way I can show you guys so we get 3 pieces of evidence. Most people are running with 3 pieces of evidence. Now, normally when I'm live streaming, I will bring in a flashlight. That's more so for my chat. I guess more so for you guys too that are watching there at home. But if you're comfortable with going in complete darkness, bring in a video camera. Arguably that's better so that way you can put down the video camera in the room, in the ghost room. And that's one less item that you actually have to bring in and out, so that'd be pretty good. Crucifix, repellent was chasing somebody, average standing below 25. All right, Brian Smith. Now, there is something interesting that you need to know right out of the gate between male and female ghosts. Male ghosts will not be crawlers, right? Only the female ghost models are crawlers. So if you don't like those, if you don't like the crawlers, then anytime that you see a female ghost, just run away, like I do normally in my life. Also, don't look at my hair, okay? It's fine. I woke up like this, and I couldn't be bothered to put anything in it or to try to fix it. So, first things first, right? The 3 main goals here is find the ghost room, find the bone, find the cursed object. Now, if you notice, I just heard something, right? We've already heard activity, right? And just like that, I know that it seems like it's you're like, well, that's just made up, right? Let's try this again. Right, we'll try it again here because that was way too easy. I tell people all the time in this game, you need to, you got to get a good headset, right? If you learn to listen for the ghost interacting with its environment, then you will be able to find it way faster than with EMF or with freezing temps. Right, a lot of people bring in freezing temps to start off with. Me, I keep it on a tier 1 freezing temps, so. You know, for me, it's not so great. I'll get into why I bring in tier 1 freezing temps later on, but some people bring that in instead of an EMF reader. I like EMF readers. So, again, first thing that we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to find the bone. We're going to try to find the ghost room and the cursed object, right? So, music box would have been there. I'm just quickly looking for everything. Now, you're noticing I'm shutting doors behind me. So, why is that? So, let's say, for instance, that I'm in the other side of the house, and I don't hear a door get touched over here. If I come back and we look at this later on and this door is ajar like this, then I know that the ghost touched that because I shut all of these doors. That's you gotta be kidding me. So just like that, right? Oh my gosh. Okay. So this ghost is already active. We already got EMF 5. That's wonderful. I love that. So, now that we know where the ghost room is, I'd like to leave the EMF reader over in there. If I get a ghost that's super active, then what will happen is I'll go back several times and I'll take photos if I know exactly what the ghost has touched. Now, I will also still shut doors. The reason being is because as the ghost, maybe it's a wandering ghost. Maybe it's a banshee of some kind. You know, maybe it's a wraith. And those kind of ghosts can teleport around, so it's still something that absolutely could be seen, could be picked up, and you could tell that from the way that the ghost is, you know, from touching the doors, right? So we're shutting all the doors that we can. We have the power on. As soon as I go downstairs and grab this. Nope, I double-clicked it. All right, so. Lights are on. Now, one of the things that I will do is that depending upon, this is kind of my main looping area. So I always like to make sure that this area is well lit. And then, you know, I also like to have these open as well. Now, the ghost room is right here, which is very convenient for us. So you could just turn on this light. You could turn on this light. And you'd be pretty well set for as far as, like, sanity drain is concerned, right? We want to deal with sanity drain. We want to try to prevent it as much as possible. We know that we're not going to be able to prevent it as much as possible, but we found the ghost room, we got the cursed object, and we got the bone photo, all still with 15% sanity. So I don't even need to take sanity as of right now, especially with the ghost being as close as it is right there. This is going to be super easy going in and out. Hopefully this isn't one of those bathroom ghosts that just happen to wander over into the area. I'm hoping not. We've got freezing breath, so that's a really good indicator. And I also do see orbs. Nice. So we got 2 pieces of evidence right off the rip. Right, we got orbs as well. So that leaves us with a Raiju or an Obake. This is super easy at this point in time because we can force fingerprint interaction, right? Or we could also just see for dots. So we can just take a look. These tier 3 dots, you can actually stop them. I kind of like doing this because it just lights up the entire room. Also, if the ghost interacts with the alarm clock at all, and you hear somebody say, "A devastating loss of life," that's me. By the way, I'm actually in Phasmophobia. I don't know if you guys know that. That's not cap. That's actually real. I used to be a Kinetics game partner. And my voice is in the video game. So that's pretty cool. I like it. So, anyways, right? So we can go in here and we can immediately figure out which which ghost that it is just based off of the salt. So we're just going to dump down some salt here. Right? I got no fingerprints of any kind, which is telling me that this is probably a Raiju. Right? Bam. Perfect. Now, all we need to do is we need to see it just to confirm, because Obakes do have a chance of not leaving fingerprints. I'm not 100% positive on footprints, though. I don't know. It decided to step through everything. But the odds that it wouldn't do it twice are pretty slim. So we'll just double check the door here. Still got nothing. Really making me believe that this is a Raiju. So that's awesome. So, now, as of right now, as of the making of this video, right, the salt photos here, you can get all of these double on salt photos, right? Now, it could be a hard time remembering exactly which salt photo that you did take to keep track of everything so that you don't miss a photo, right? And back in the day, it was even worse because you didn't have any way of being able to make sure that you weren't, if you were wrong, you were just wrong. You just missed the photo. That was it. That was your one shot, your one opportunity, and you screwed it up. At least now, if you get a 2-star photo for whatever reason, you can change that. So what I'd like to do is you can actually just put all the salt onto one pile, right, like that. And the reason is because I can come back here and I can take 3 photos back to back to back like this, and we filled up our book. Now I need 2 more photos over here to complete it. We can take one here, right? And we have 1 left for the ghost photo. Now you can get the ghost photo with the dots. That is possible. It is, however, very difficult to do. Not because of the ghost showing up, but I find most of the time that it just ends up being something, it just ends up being like janky. Like you take a photo of the ghost and you can clearly see the photo of the ghost. I'll try it. Hopefully I can show you guys what I mean by this. Here, hopefully we can get it to show up. Come on, ghosty. There it is. Okay, so we got a perfect 3-star ghost photo. So it is possible to do it. Like I said, you got to make sure that ghost is right directly in the center of the viewfinder when you take a photo, because otherwise, it can really start to get weird. All right, so apart from all of that, right? So you do want to make sure that you do want to make sure that you've got some place to be able to hide. Now that we know what the ghost is, we filled out the book, we've got everything else, right? It's perfect. It's good to go. Now, there is a couple of things that you can do for as far as looping the ghost is concerned. The major concern here, especially with the Raiju, is it near power? Raiju near an electronic device that is on, the Raiju will draw power from it, and it will cause it to go faster, right? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that, like, all of these lights are off, right? We want to, you want to either get rid of the item, throw it outside, so that way it's not there. Even if it's on and it's still close enough, it can still draw that power. So just turning everything off, right, is a great way to prevent a Raiju from going super fast. If we needed to do testing, obviously you would have to have it. You'd have to have it on. So there's that. Now, next thing I like to do, if I know that I'm going to be looping the ghost, if I know that let's say that was one of our objectives. We have to witness a ghost event. We have to prevent a hunting. So we're going to find the, we'll do the cursed object over here. We'll drop down my sanity. So that way it can happen. But let's say that we had a repel near the ghost, right? Or an escape a hunt kind of thing. A lot of people think that you have to, like, one-on-one, 100% showdown face off of the ghost to get that secondary achievement of escape during a hunt. That's not what that means at all. All that means is that at some point in time during the hunt, the ghost sees you, and then the hunt stops without you dying. That's it. Literally it. So what I mean by that is let's say that this is the ghost, right? If I went, and the hunt stopped, I would get it. It's that simple. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to loop it the entire time. You don't have to worry about that, right? But going back to looping, right? So if the best places, especially on Tanglewood, and I can make another video on all of the best looping spaces on all of the maps. If you guys would like to see that, let me know down in the comment section below. But in Tanglewood, arguably the two best places to loop the ghost is one around the kitchen island and two around the van back here, right? These are great places, especially because if these lockers are open and you time this correctly, you can actually just loop this ghost around, run him around here in this area, right? Maybe you smudge right at that moment and then you just go right into the locker. So that helps out. Now, this one is a little bit trickier of a spot, just because a lot of people, they get freaked out because the ghost, either by ducking down or by standing up, you think that the ghost can see you. That's not the case. If you actually duck down, this is actually high enough, or your player model is not high enough. It's one of the two. I don't know which one that it is, but the end result is that the ghost, if you're up against this, the ghost can't see you. And it turned off the power on me. So the ghost can't see you in that position. So that means that if you wanted to break line of sight with the ghost, then you could do that. And that would cause it to, potentially to slow down. It would cause it to potentially wander off. All those kind of things. I'm just going to make sure that I've got some smudges. I always like to be prepared, right? You got an extra smudge that's there on the table. I recommend that 100%. You're going to be way better off if you prep for when you know that you're going to see the ghost, or if you think that you're going to run into the ghost, even if you don't necessarily want to, by having the items available, especially with having the lighter slot as its own slot, it just makes good sense to just carry a lighter with you. And then the smudge sticks, just have them someplace that's easily available. So we're gonna speed this up here, and then I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about. Ooh, here we go. So Raiju should be pretty normal speed. Right? Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Hey! There he is. So we just lead him back over here. Now you notice, right, what I'm doing in this sense... See, he had already lost sight of us. What I'm doing in this sense is that I am preserving my sprint as much as I possibly can. And he lost sight of us. So we bring him back around, right? So I'm only using sprint, when absolutely necessary. See, if I had used my sprint all up right there before that moment, I probably would have gotten unalived, or I would have had to use the smudge. And just like that, no smudges used whatsoever, and we were able to loop the ghost around the kitchen island, no problem. right? So it's all about breaking line of sight. It's all about, you know, setting yourself up and knowing how to do it. If you get to the point, if you hold down sprint too much, right? You get, I'll show you. You get this much before you run out of sprint, right? So by kind of timing it to where you just need a little bit of a speed boost to keep the ghost. Let's say that the voodoo doll here is the ghost, and I'm trying to keep the ghost on the other side of the kitchen island here, right on the other side, because that's the safest spot, is him being on the other side here. The kitchen table doesn't work out this well, though, because it doesn't have that same line of sight that I talked about earlier with the kitchen island, right? So this one, the ghost will just continuously just get more and more speed to it, whereas this one, you can actually break line of sight, that kind of thing. So yeah, so we want to stay on the other side of the island from the ghost. So we only want to use our sprint to get ourselves into position, and then we stop using it. That will help you to increase the longevity of how much sprint that you do have, and allows you to be able to use it in a scenario. Should be fine now. Should be able to use it in a scenario where to help you to keep you alive. Now, a lot of people go back and forth between what is the best smudge to have. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. As somebody who plays this game... oh, it burned the crucifix. Okay. As somebody who plays this game professionally, I play this game for a living. Honestly, I use Tier 2. That is a personal choice, though. Don't you turn off the power. I heard you touch it. Don't you turn off the power. Leave it alone. It's a personal choice. Some people, especially when you're talking about where you get into the differences of opinion, where you get into the different uses for it, really, is when you're talking about doing like no evidence runs, right? You get those videos of the 11, 12x, you know, running it on Woodwind map, and you know, you're running through those to try to guess the ghost. In those sense, it turned off the power. In that sense, right, we don't need a smudge stick that's going to slow down the ghost, because that could potentially ruin us trying to figure out what the ghost is, right? Because a lot of ghosts are based off of the speed. You've got ghosts that are moving at 150 speed already. It's already kind of weird, you know, listening for that, and then you put in, you know, like a Tier 2, Tier 3 smudge into the mix. It also throws everything off as well. So that's why man. So that's why those people decide to do that. We still have not witnessed a ghost event. This is crazy. I'm gonna explain a little bit more while we're running around here, and then okay, never mind. Well, there's the ghost event. Oh, thank you. I guess ask and you shall receive. Now I can't find my smudge stick. Okay, there it is. So with that being said, right, which one is the best one for you? I would say that if you're using a smudge, go with whichever one that you use, whichever style that you are using. If you're going to do the style of which I'm doing, for example, then I would recommend Tier 1, Tier 2. If you're going to use it purely as a means to get, you know, like you're terrified of the ghost, you just want to smudge it so that way you can run off into a locker kind of thing, I would honestly recommend a Tier 3 if you get them, right? Tier 3 is going to keep the ghost in position. Going to keep it locked into position. Tier 2 is going to slow it down a little bit. And Tier 1 is not going to slow it down at all, right? The amount of smudging, the amount of time that you get from it is not going to be as great either. So why do people use it, right? Well, apart from... So the reason why I say for the timing thing is, let's say, for instance, that... Well, let's say that this cup is still the ghost, right? So the ghost is coming towards me, and I'll show you this in real time as well. So the ghost is coming towards me, and so if I smudge through the ghost, then the ghost keeps moving in that direction. We're about to get it here. I think that was the last crucifix burn. So the ghost is moving towards me. I smudge through the ghost, right? Because that's my playstyle. The ghost keeps moving. If I use Tier 3 for whatever reason, don't do it. Don't do it. Son of a... if I use Tier 3, then the ghost stays here in position. I'll show you what this looks like. Right? So the ghost is coming towards me. He's coming towards me. I'm going to smudge right through the ghost. And you see how the ghost keeps moving, right? I have a huge amount of distance between me and the ghost, right? So that helps out for as far as seeing that. I don't trust that it won't come up and I won't get unalived by the stairs here. Sorry. Right? Now, so that's why we do it, right? The ghost keeps moving. If, however, the ghost, let's say, for instance, we're playing it on the viewpoint of, like, the ghost is chasing me, and I smudge, right? I want to be able to move away from the ghost. Use tier 3. So hopefully that helps to answer the question for folks on, like, which one is the best smudge to use, that kind of thing, right? And we got everything that we needed, right? So this is all in all, this is a successful hunt. It's a perfect game. Yeah. So those are kind of some tips and tricks that I do have. Additionally, what I'd like to show you guys, and now this one is a little bit more difficult. People say that it works. We'll test it out. Oh, I can't test it out now. Hold on. I was gonna say, well, maybe we could do it for another video. But I was gonna say that, so one of the cheeky spots that you can get into. So a lot of times you had the lockers, right? You had the lockers to be able to hide into. That's great and all. But let's say that all of the lockers, for whatever reason, are closed off, right? You can't actually see inside the locker. But let's say that it's closed off for whatever reason. If you stand into position like this, and then just close the doors on you, like so, as long as the door, you know, like the doors are closed here, if the ghost is coming by and you're holding on to the door closest to whichever direction the ghost is coming from, so in this sense, he's in the little boy's bedroom, when we hold this door here, then it's not supposed to be able to get you. I find that it's a very jank thing. That works some of the times, and then other times it absolutely does not work, and then I get unalive for absolutely no reason. There are better spots to hide. I do have a YouTube video about all the best spots to hide in Phasmophobia. I highly recommend that one. But yeah, that's kind of, you know, going through from start to finish here of what we expect, you know, when you go in for a match. We'll do this one more time. I'll show you guys, you know, I'll show you guys that even on a larger map, right, that it's not impossible, right? I'll show you at least how I would find the ghost room in a larger map, right? So let's do Sunny Meadows, because that is the largest map, so that way you guys can see this. Right? So let's not, since we're just gonna find the ghost room, well, here, let's do this. I'm going to upgrade my thermometer. I'm going to do it for you guys, just because I like it.
There's some jobs ready for you.
Normally, I don't do this. But we'll upgrade my thermometer to tier 3, right? And we'll bring it in. And I'll show you guys on how you can use the thermometer in larger maps to help you to be able to find the ghost room. If that is one thing that you want to go with. Now, a lot of people get... Please don't be Blood Moon. Okay. A lot of people get thrown off by Sunny Meadows. They find it to be very daunting. It's a very scary map. I don't look at it like that. I look at it, you know, like it's actually pretty easy. To be honest, I would rather run maps on Sunny Meadows than I would on, like, say, high school. For one simple fact is that you actually have a map here. So this is actually accurate. So like 41, right? For example, if we went over here and we looked up 41, female room 3, right? So like you can find different spots on the map. You can use the Ouija board to ask for questions. That's one of the tips that I would say, is that if you can, leverage the cursed object to help you to be able to find the ghost room, right? Now, you can also bring in a parabolic microphone, right? And we could do it this way. So I'm going to show you both ways of doing it. I'm going to show you one way of using the cursed object. I'm going to show you the other way of using the cursed object, and then without using the cursed object, right? So the first things first is that we're going to make sure this kind of noise that you're hearing is actually some of the newer sounds. Newer sounds for Phasmophobia, so they put in a lot more ambient noise. So just because you hear that ambient noise does not necessarily mean that you have anything. What we are listening for here is either the ghost to throw an object. See, that's another ambient noise. The ghost to either throw an object or to hear some kind of whispering, right? Yeah, another ambient noise. So we go down the hallway. We're going to hit the stairs, all right? And then we're going to hit the restricted section. And then we'll hit the medical wing, and then we'll come back up through the male wing again. Now, all the while, right, we're just making sure here that these doors are closed. Now, on the easier difficulties, like professional or below, a lot of these doors are closed, which is great. That is a great sign for us, because if the ghost does interact with the environment, that increases the chance that the ghost is actually going to open up the door, and then it's going to become easier for you to spot because, hey, this door is ajar, and now I can, we've figured out where the ghost room is. Easy peasy. All right, we also have the power here. Boom, perfect. Now, the power can be in a couple of different locations on this map. However, the mini-map in the van will actually show you on professional, I believe it's professional and lower, it will show you where the fuse box is. So, personally, right, if we're being 100% honest here. Ooh, you in here? Let's test it. 9.4. What about over here? 7. It's actually warmer in this room. All right. I'm actually not too big of a fan of the parabolic microphones. Just because, I like being able to listen. I do very good. Ooh, it might actually be here. It is knocked over. It could be out of place. Hold on, let's test it. Let's see. 11 degrees, 10 degrees. Maybe not. Nope. See, stuff like that where it's knocked over, where it's out of place. I know that it seems like there's a lot of stuff out of place, but you have to remember that a lot of this game is set up with the mindset of, like, you're going to show this house to potential buyers, right? We're going to show Sunny Meadows to potential buyers. So everything has a place. Everything will be in that exact same place every single time. So it turns into one of those things of, like, all right, what's out of place, right? I know that it seems like everything is strewn about the place, but everything is exactly in the same place as it will always be every time you come into this map. So if you can learn to spot the difference, then it can help you to figure it out. Now, with us keeping the doors closed, right, or trying to keep the doors closed as much as possible, even if we can't find the ghost room for whatever reason, giving it some time, go back out to the van, come back, see which doors are open. Right, so we got another one here. Let's see, could be this one. We've got 5 degrees. I've got freezing breath. Right. I'm gonna point the parabolic mic at the room now, just to see if we get anything. Right. If I see anything getting thrown around over here, perfect. So we know exactly where the ghost room is. Right. We were able to tell that from the door just being open. Now, if you're playing on larger maps or on harder difficulties, then it can become an issue, right, to be able to find those things because more doors start open. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to leave the flashlight here so that way we know exactly what door was open in that moment, right? So I'm going to say, for instance, right, we're going to leave out of here. I'm going to grab another flashlight so that way you guys can actually see stuff. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab the monkey paw. We're going to grab the monkey paw, and then I'm going to show you guys what it actually looks like when you use the cursed object. Now, using the cursed object is typically for people that are more comfortable in the game. I'm not going to say more advanced because it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to use it. But you need to know the pitfalls of what you're asking for. So, like, for example, I'm going to say I wish to trap the ghost. What that will do is that will trap the ghost in its room for 1.5 minutes, after which time the ghost will hunt, unless you're not in the area. right? If you're not inside the building, if you're playing by yourself, then that minute and a half comes by, the ghost says, hey, are you in here? Nope, we're not. All right, cool. And then it won't hunt you. So it's a fairly safe one to use. Now, I don't recommend if you use it like inside of a building like the chapel here. What will happen is that the ghost will trap you inside the chapel for that minute and a half. You will be trapped. The ghost will be trapped. Right? So what we need to do is we need to trick the game into thinking that we're in an area that it doesn't matter whether or not that it doesn't matter that we're in this area. And I'll show you what I mean here. I don't know if the power's still on or not, but so we're going to grab it, and I'm going to say, I wish to trap the ghost. I wish to trap the ghost. There we go. Now, you notice, right, that none of the doors over here closed around me. None of these closed around me at all. That's because the ghost, the game is not very good at picking up where exactly that you are in those scenarios. So it just opts to either shut a random door that you're nowhere near, or it just won't shut doors at all, right? If I was inside of a room, for example, it would shut that door to that room and I would be trapped inside. Now, the important thing here, the reason for why that we do that is because now, right, the ghost room, if you notice, like if we look at this door, right, we have our cursor that's on it, and it's a circle. But if I come over to this door, now you can see that there's a lock on it. So now I can use, after that minute and a half is done with, then the ghost will hunt. But that lock will stay on the door. So that means that even on a large map, I can go in, I can use the monkey paw, I can say, I wish to trap the ghost. I can go back out, I can grab some other stuff in the van, load it up on the front doorstep, right, while we're waiting around. And then afterwards, then the ghost will hunt like it is right now. We can, did I put it on the other side? No. Let's go over here. Let's grab this. Right? Now what you can do is you can bring this back over here. Right, like so. Let's say you do get trapped inside. Then you can say, I wish to leave. Now, this makes you very slow. This makes you muted. It makes you slow, makes you muted, you know, and it collapses in on your screen. But if you're standing right next to the front door when you do that and the ghost is nowhere by, then you can get out. The hunt is done. You're perfectly safe. So that is how, honestly, I would recommend finding the ghost room. Now, another way that you can do it with the thermometer, for example, if you're running around, let's say, with an EMF and a thermometer. Great options to bring in. All you would have to do, try to find the power, because turning on the power will raise the ambient temperatures across the board inside the whatever place that you happen to be haunting. And then you can go in with a tier 3 thermometer, and you can just kind of dart in and out of the rooms to see which one fluctuates. I guess I could show you that right now, just so that way you could see it, because we went through the whole process of getting the tier 3. Mr. Bean is blocking the way, but so I guess maybe not today. But yeah, you could do that, right, with the tier 3 evidence. I personally, going back to it, I personally only use the tier 1 evidence, and that's only, or the tier 1 thermometer. And the reason being is because that is the only one that I can just throw into the room, and it will continue to work while I'm in the room. I can go around, I can do all the other kind of investigation, and then I come back later on and I will look at it, right? Tier 2 and tier 3 require you to actively use it, whereas the tier 1 passively allows you to use it. So that's why I love using the tier 1. But if you made it this far in the video, please like it. Please leave a comment. Let me know down below if there's anything that you guys would like to see in more detail, or if there's, you know, some other kind of questions that you guys have. I will try to address them as best as possible. Maybe even make a whole video out of them. But I appreciate you guys. You are loved and valued. And I'll see you guys in the next one.